Alright, today let's look at baseball in Tanzania. This is one I've been wanting to do for quite some time now. I've previously done 2 videos about baseball in African countries. One was South Africa, which is by far the dominant country in Africa, and the other one was Uganda, which is well established as the number 2 baseball country on the continent. The only real competition in Africa is for 3rd place, and Tanzania is one of those countries battling for that spot. Baseball has only existed in Tanzania since 2012, but in 10 years they've accomplished more than a lot of other countries that have been playing much longer. And while their accomplishments come up well short when compared to the top 2 African countries, the support they're getting from the baseball world, and the famous names already being connected with baseball in Tanzania, give this country an enormous amount of potential. In 2012, baseball was introduced to Tanzania by Japanese volunteer SHINYA TOMONARI, who was manager of the Ghana national team. He was responsible for having the country's first equipment donated and getting volunteer coaches brought in to introduce the game to various parts of the country, mostly in secondary schools. The sport caught on immediately, and 1 year later they held the country's first high school championship, known as the Tanzania KOSHIEN Championship, named after Japan's famous high school tournament. That has continued annually to this day. In 2014, the Tanzania Baseball and Softball Association was established, and the country's first national team was formed. And in the next few years, the number of participants grew rapidly. One man who is helping to grow the sport there is Musa Mbugi. He learned the sport when it was introduced at his school, then spent a year as an exchange student in the U.S., where he practiced with the high school baseball team and served as the team manager. Once back in Tanzania, he began visiting schools to introduce the sport and held several clinics in the country's capital of Dar es Salaam, teaching baseball and softball to young Tanzanian athletes. The U.S. Embassy took notice of his work. Musa received some donated equipment from them, and embassy workers have become involved with his clinics. Another supporter of baseball in Tanzania is David Robinson, the youngest son of baseball legend Jackie Robinson. He has lived in the country since 1983, operating a farmer-run coffee cooperative called Sweet Unity Farms. He's been in attendance for baseball events such as the KOSHIEN tournament. His presence brings incredible name recognition to the country's young baseball program. Even if he doesn't have any knowledge of the game to share, just having him there is a big deal. The National Baseball Championship in the early years was held at a secondary school in Dar es Salaam, but in 2018 the Embassy of Japan funded the construction of a new stadium called Tanzania KOSHIEN Stadium. The opening ceremony was attended by Tanzanian Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, as well as the wife and son of David Robinson. The Africa 55 KOSHIEN project, yes, they're inserting the word KOSHIEN into everything, was just launched last year by the Japan Africa Baseball and Softball Foundation, or JABS, with the aim of promoting and developing baseball throughout the 55 countries of Africa in the next 25 years. And the first country to benefit from this program is Tanzania, showing that the Japanese baseball organization has high hopes for this nation. And to show how serious they are about that, they've got 2009 World Series MVP Hideki Matsui involved with the program. He hasn't been to the country yet, but just before the last Tanzanian KOSHIEN back in December, Matsui delivered a message online to participating players. So this country that's only been playing baseball for 10 years has the support of the Japanese and U.S. embassies, and they've got Hideki Matsui and the family of Jackie Robinson involved with the game. Not bad. So how exactly are they doing? The latest WBSC World Ranking has them in a 3-way tie with another African country, Ghana, and Iran for number 71, all 3 countries down 1 place from the previous ranking. They are 7th in Africa behind South Africa, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Burkina Faso, Kenya, and Nigeria. A couple reasons for their low ranking. One, they haven't been playing as long as those other African countries. The team's international debut was just 5 years ago at the 2017 East Africa Baseball Championship. In that competition, Tanzania lost to the more experienced teams from Uganda and Kenya, but they came very close to upsetting Kenya, losing by the score of 9-8. And they are just now getting started with youth baseball. Remember that WBSC rankings include a country's performances from all age groups. The clinics held in Tanzania have been mostly for teenagers. Now that they've got a successful annual high school baseball championship, they'll work on getting more young kids on the field. These kids will grow up playing baseball, and the KOSHIEN tournament will be something they can dream about for their future. Then, once those kids reach adulthood, some of them will be ready to take their talents abroad. And if you saw last week's video, you'll know that that's the stage they have just reached in Uganda, where baseball has been played about 10 years longer than in Tanzania. So it's probably going to be a while before we see any prospects from Tanzania, but we won't have to wait long to see them climb the world rankings. Once they get organized youth teams competing internationally, I have no doubt, given the support they're receiving and the enthusiasm they're showing, that they'll start knocking down some of the higher-ranked countries. This could become the number 3 country in Africa before too long. Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.